First and foremost, it was designed and presented to our users, people who are already familiar with Teleport and with our view on the world. Maybe I could spend a couple of minutes kind of getting your audience up to speed. So the most important thing that we want people to understand is that you need to bring identity into your infrastructure stack, okay? Because historically, most organizations, they would have their infrastructure over here and their identity over there. So identity of your humans in your organization are like in Okta, for example, and here's your infrastructure here in data center. And by default, infrastructure doesn't have an identity, it's basically naked. So here's what I mean by that. Compare your data center to your Apple devices, like in your home. You can go to your Apple account, and then you click on My Devices, and you'll see your laptop, you will see your MacBook, your iPhone, your iPad, your EarPods, all in one place. You didn't add them there. Why are they there? Like, how does Apple know that you own all of these things? And then suddenly they recognize themselves and they treat each other with respect and trust. You can copy paste from a laptop into a phone somehow. You can like transfer files using AirDrop, and you're not seeing any login screens somehow. So that is because Apple built a trusted hardware layer into everything they do. Do you have it for your infrastructure? That's the layer. That's the identity layer. Every server in your environments needs to have a strongly implemented identity because servers are not created equal. Some servers are staging. There's some servers used for testing, others for production. Some servers have data. Other servers don't have data. Some servers are subject to FedRAMP level high. Other servers are subject to PCI, some other compliance regime. So you start by issuing strong identity to servers. Then you need to start to do the same thing with software. You need to issue identities to everything that you run on your machines. You need to have identity for your database that runs in a Kubernetes cluster. So you need identity for that cluster. You need identity for every microservice. And all of these identities need to be implemented in the same layer. So that is a prerequisite for you to make your infrastructure safe. For AI adoption, first you need to bring it into this trusted state where there is no anonymity and your identity is not fragmented anymore. Now you can bring non-deterministic actors like humans and AI agents, because now everything they will try to touch, you already know what that is. You cannot secure what you don't know what you have. So you have to get rid of anonymity first. That is a prerequisite before we even begin talking about identity framework. So you need to have an identity layer in your infrastructure that covers everything you have.
One thing I'll add in there, I think once you have that, then that becomes, it's almost like a secure running state, isn't it? I think that's something, again, where in the sort of world of constant change and constant flux, you want to start off, you mentioned sort of hardware process attestation and sort of the boot up angle, and you want to get to a position where you have a level of security and trust, and then you can deploy downstream applications and stuff. It's almost, you want to get to that point first, and you get to that secure running state, and only at that point you can then start to do the stuff which is
So if you're not at that point, you're not even ready to talk about agentic identity. Like, you really need to start earlier. And look, people will rightly push back on this. It's like, look, man, it's a lot of work. Look, we have so much gear, we have legacy systems, we have multiple generations of technology layered on top of each other. That's normalcy. That's what everyone is facing. And frankly, look, obviously I will be self-serving by saying this. That's the problem that Teleport truly solves. That we make this complicated, messy, and seemingly insurmountable problem go away. So it is easy to enroll your infrastructure into this trusted state, to issue identities to everything and everyone in your environments. That's really what we've been selling for the last few years. So once you are in that state, now we can have this debate and conversation about how to bring AI into that kind of trusted environment that doesn't have anonymity anymore. And that is where this agentic identity framework that we're suggesting comes into play. And by the way, I want to highlight something here. This is not an advertisement for Teleport. The framework actually suggests like components and technologies for infra that doesn't have anything to do with us. It's like industry best practices, how to contain AI workloads in production in 2025, 2026, based on what we've seen in the real world.